You have obviously a ton of experience in jiu-jitsu. It's like your entire life at this point.
More than, yeah.
And you have 2 kids. How old are your kids now? 3 and 5? No.
No, almost 4 and 7.
4 and 7, okay.
November, my daughter will be 7. Margot will be 7 in November, and then Oliver will be 4 in December.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 and 4. Yeah.
And so you have this like lifetime of jiu-jitsu, which is like the thing about, I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand about jiu-jitsu is like they think of martial arts and they think of kids martial arts, or they think of like what they picture as karate or whatever. A black belt in jiu-jitsu is brutally earned. I mean, it is earned over just a segment of years, like an entire portion of your life. There were blood and sweat and pain and recovery and hurt and just like emotional problem. Like it is an earned thing. Like there is no way of, you can go on eBay and buy a black belt, but you get realized very quickly, right?
Yeah. You have to back it up. I believe it was Henzo that said that the belt covers 2 inches of your ass, and it's up to you to cover the rest.
That's wrong.
And it makes a lot of sense, because the black belt is just something that happens. You just keep showing up, and because really it represents what you've done through the act of learning the martial art. But for me, any of the belts that you earn, they represent that you overcame a lot of stuff that was trying to pull you out of what your passion could be. And yeah, in jiu-jitsu, it takes at least 5 to 6 years. Some people, some people earn it a little bit quicker because they have competition accolades. And yeah, technically, for sure, they've earned it, and everybody goes through wonderful stages of their life and tragedies in their life at different paces. So I don't mind seeing people who get black belts in like 3 to 5 years because they've most likely been through a lot of stuff. And when it comes to, I was just having this conversation with somebody up in Paso, where I just took a little mini vacation for my own mental health. And, we're talking about promoting people. And one of the questions is like, what is the qualifications for a black belt? Qualification for a purple belt: keep showing up. Brown belt, fine, you keep showing up. But when you go to give someone a black belt, they're tied to you forever. That means their character, their skills, what they're going to do in the future is in a way tied to you. So now it's not just, I can give this guy a belt, and if he quits, whatever. But if I give this guy a black belt, and then, he has all of his lineage tied to me, he has all of his future tied to me, like, this is a big question. So the qualifications become very fuzzy at that point because they're all good at jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But where are they going to be as a representation of what I want to portray jiu-jitsu as, or what I want to put, I also have responsibility to the people that came before me.
Right.
All of that blood, sweat, tears, and pain, and quit, and recovery, and encouragement, that's all sitting on this other person's shoulders too. So it's like, I have to make sure that I'm responsible for the people who came before me. So the qualifications get very fuzzy. It gets kind of difficult when it comes time to grant a black belt, whether they've earned it. Like usually jiu-jitsu skill isn't even a question at that point. Do
you see the similarity of what you're describing along with the similarity of what you're talking about with like, granting a black belt, or what does it take to be a black belt, but like with fatherhood?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just way easier to be a dad than it is to be a black belt.
No, not at all. It's so much easier to be a black belt than a father.
It's way easier to become a dad than it is to become
a black belt. Absolutely. You can accidentally make a kid.
Yes. Yes, many people have.
You can like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You can accidentally make a kid. You can't accidentally become a black belt.
No. But do you see that similarity, that idea of like, not only are you tying yourself to this person forever, your lineage prior is being reflected through the future generations. They are saying their own behavior is also going to reflect you and their future generations. There's a lot, I feel like, that is like a through line between that relationship of...
Yeah, I see it not so... Maybe I'm looking at it from a more pessimistic point of view, but I do see it kind of as I want to say that you want to prune away the negative things that came before you. But now being a father today versus being a father even like 15, 20 years ago, I'd imagine is just drastically different, or maybe back in like the 80s and 90s. So I think that the whole family dynamic has changed a lot. I'm a single father, so I have my kids Monday through Friday. I have like some 70 some odd percent custody. So Monday through Friday I have my kids, and then their mom takes them to the weekends. And that's just the way things ended up. There's nothing bad about that situation, but it presents me with more time with my kids than my father ever had with me, and more time than his father had with him. I think Jim Gaffigan, a comedian out there, he said, I have more pictures of my kids than my dad ever looked at me. And I think it's kind of true. I mean, right? Like,
totally true.
It used to be that your mom stayed home and she did what she needed to do. She raised up the kids. She was stay at home, and then your dad went to work. And then some point in the 80s and 90s that changed. And then, even now with the pandemic, moving
it's
along,
even crazier. It's been like work from home has turned into a thing, and there's no more separation of like work life, family life, personal life, relationships. Like all of it has been glommed into like one location.
Even school life, I teach jiu-jitsu. I run the academy. I was a kindergarten teacher, and then I also ran daycare for my kid at the same time. And all of the negative things that you heard about, like, oh, you shouldn't let your kids watch TV. You reach a point, especially in the middle of the pandemic, where you're like, you're watching TV, kid. Like, everybody sit down.
Yeah,
like I can't do this.
Yeah.